So do we think that Valve could have done things better here? Like, do we think that they should have had to have done something better, and do we think that they could have done something better?
I don't think they could have done something better.
Okay, talk through that logic for me.
I mean, there's just no way, as we've already established, there's like no way to enforce
I want
a
to
lot of these things.
reaffirm it, Striker, as
Yeah,
much as
sure.
we can, just so people understand.
There's just no way to enforce any of these things. So for them to do anything else is just impossible, right? Pretty much. So I don't think they can do anything better.
I mean,
They could have
maybe
done less, I suppose.
yeah, doing nothing would maybe be better. That's
Yeah.
that's the only thing.
Sure.
But then it's the classic like perception of doing nothing that it's bad, right? Because you aren't being proactive, you aren't fixing anything. So from how I see it, it's the community perception that they want to change, and they want to change it by doing something, not by not doing something. But not doing anything, you probably won't change anyone's perception of you. So that's why they had to do something. But I still think this is kind of a pointless change, even though it might accomplish their goal, which is annoying, because I think it's a bad change, but it still might work for what they're trying to do.
I think that the problem is kind of comes down to like who wants to cheat is going to be able to cheat. So
Yes.
I feel like that just makes it entirely pointless, right? Because as we've established, it's mega unenforceable. So if somebody wants to cheat, they will be able to, and they will probably get away with it in this case, just because there are so many ways to get around it, as we've said. So that to me just makes it kind of pointless.
Yeah, and that angle, like, I definitely can understand, right? But that's where the conversation starts to change, right? Because the conversation goes from, well, yeah, we know what Valve did, we understand why Valve did it, we've weighed up what the alternatives were. Now that we've weighed up what the alternatives were, what would we have preferred to have seen? Well, what we would have preferred to have seen, blasts have already been quite strict on how they're enforcing things, right? If you have a camera on every single player and they're sitting there like this, right? And you have a guy in TeamSpeak and fucking Chad SPUNJ Burchill is talking, but my mic's muted on TeamSpeak, what the fuck do y'all think I'm doing? Right? Like, that right there is probably an indication once you sync up the video with the TeamSpeak and the in-game, and okay, maybe they're on another VoIP program talking to somebody else, right? But without that being enforced, like what Graham, Messioso, Pitt were saying, if the coaches aren't in the room and there's not cameras on them anymore, well, I guess the cameras are still going to be on the players, right? So the way that this one would happen is I'd be sitting there in my team, we'd be in another TeamSpeak. There'd be me, Prof, Striker. We've got Lucas in there, and who can be our fifth? Fuck. Let's get Martin as our fifth. He can be dropping guns. That's our team. And our coach, Nomad, he's outside, right? He's not allowed to be in the room. But we're scumbags and we cheat. So Nomad's on a PC. We've all gone on a different TeamSpeak with a different IP, as well as the one that is being monitored by Blast or whoever the fuck it is. And while we're sitting there, we have our mics muted, but we have our audio open on the second TeamSpeak. And there's Nomad going, all right, guys, they're going to run the A split on this anti-eco here. And like, that would be one way that you could cheat, right? And we've just outlined a very easy way. There you go. You've all got some fucking free ideas at home.
Yeah, and they use like double headphones all the time, so they're probably cheating through that as well. Obviously, no one wrote that about Vitality. Probably someone did. I didn't really read the comments. But the only thing that comes to mind is what they could have done is to actually support the TOs that are running the RMR events.
Yes.
Maybe they could have, instead of doing this where you can't be in the room, maybe they could have wrote because of blah blah standards have been enforced for all RMR events, which are, I don't know, recording this and this. We have, I don't know, a protocol set, maybe a rule set, like a guidebook or something, how admins should follow for potential misbehaviors or cheating in any way. And I don't know, give money. Money is always good. Therefore, everyone is getting like extra money support or paid admins to do this, like some extra guys that are going to be doing it for every RMR event, let's say. Maybe that could have been a better solution than to like just cut off anyone being in the room. Sure. And like dogs being in the room and cats and any pets being in the room at the time.
The only thing that I have a problem with, like Valve donating money to TOs, is obviously they can't oversee like how that money is being used. So even if like the intent is for them to have more admins and to be able to oversee this stuff a little bit more, like let's be real, like they're not going to be able to ask TOs for like all the contracts and whatever and figure out whether
I mean,
they're
they
actually
can,
being
but
used
they
that way.
need CBA
They won't.
to
They
do that.
won't. We know that.
I just want to point something out because someone made a comment to what we were saying and said that I think it was in reply to what I was saying about the communication thing, and someone saying by the rules that wouldn't be against the rules. Just so you guys can read, like, just so you guys understand what this says. During online matches, only players are allowed in the room and on the server. Neither coaches nor any other team staff will be allowed in the room, on the server, or to otherwise communicate with the team during an online match. So if you are on TeamSpeak, unbeknownst, that's cheating, right? Like you got that is them clearly breaking this rule.
You can be on TeamSpeak, you just can't talk.
You just can't communicate. You can't
Exactly.
You can't send them messages.
You can't talk.
There's no form of interaction. Now I have